I'd like you to imagine the following situation. You have plans with a friend and are in the middle of getting ready when you get a text from them. Sorry, can't make it. Now, how do you feel? Well, the way that we feel will depend on our thoughts. If we think, nobody ever wants to do anything with me, we might feel sad. If we think, how can they just cancel at the last minute? It's so disrespectful. Then we might feel angry. If we think, what if I did something to upset them, and that's why they canceled? Or, what if they found something better to do, because they don't really like me that much? Then we might feel worried or anxious. And if we think, I guess something just came up, at least I'll have some time for myself today, we might not have much of an emotional reaction at all. In each of these examples, the situation didn't change, but we ended up with a different emotional response because we had different thoughts. And it's those thoughts that influenced how we feel. In cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, this is known as the ABC model. A stands for activating event, or antecedent, the situation that triggered our thought and feeling. B stands for belief, which just means the thought we had about the situation. And C stands for consequence, the consequence being how we feel now, the emotion we're experiencing. And A, the activating event, activates B, our belief or thought about the situation, which then leads to C, how we feel and our emotion. The point is, the way that we feel isn't just determined by the situation itself. A lot of it depends on the thoughts we have about the situation. Which means if we can make a change at B to our belief or thought, then C, the consequence and how we feel, will change as well, and we'll start feeling better. Now, instead of a feeling, the consequence can also be an action or behavior. We think, nobody ever wants to do anything with me, and as a consequence, we just lie on the couch all day, or maybe even go back to bed. Or we think, that's so disrespectful, and then we fire off a bunch of angry texts. So again, the consequence, in this case our behavior, isn't baked into the situation. It varies depending on our thoughts and beliefs. So changing these thoughts helps us act in more productive ways. But how do we change our beliefs and thoughts? To start, we ask ourselves, what's going through my mind right now? What am I thinking? And then once we've identified our thought or belief, we move on to D, for dispute. We dispute it by asking ourselves some questions, like, what's the evidence for and against this thought? Are there any facts I'm ignoring or overlooking? Have I had any experiences that show this thought isn't true all the time? Am I focusing only on the negative aspects of the situation? Are there other possible explanations or ways to view this? If someone I cared about had this thought, what would I tell them? And if they knew I was thinking this, what might they say to me? How likely is it that what I'm worried about will happen? What's a more likely outcome? Which brings us to E. The effect of disputing our thoughts is that we come up with more effective ways of thinking, which in turn lead to F, which sometimes stands for new feeling, or more broadly, more functional feelings and behavior. Now let's go back to our example and put this all together. We're having the thought, nobody ever wants to do anything with me. So then we dispute this thought by asking ourselves some questions like, is this thought 100% true? What's the evidence for and against it? The evidence for could be something like, I don't have anyone to do anything with right now, and I'm often lonely and there isn't anyone to hang out with. But the evidence against is that my friend did make plans with me, so he did want to do something with me at the time. And I sometimes do things with friends, just not as much as I'd like. And now for the effect. Disputing this thought leads to a new, more effective way of thinking about this situation. This one cancellation doesn't mean nobody ever wants to do anything with me. Things don't always go as planned. And now F. Because we've changed our thought, we've probably changed the way we feel. We're still disappointed and a little sad that our plans fell through, but it's a much more manageable sadness than the hopelessness and rejection we felt from our initial thought. And instead of lying on the couch feeling bad about what happened, we engage in a more functional behavior and see if anyone else is free or just do something by ourselves. Now let's look at our angry automatic negative thought. That's so disrespectful. To dispute this thought, we might ask ourselves, how do I know they're being disrespectful? I don't even know why they canceled. Am I taking this personally without knowing all the facts? Yeah, this could have nothing to do with me. Is there another way of looking at this? And the effect of disputing this thought is we arrive at a more effective thought. Maybe something urgent came up that they had to do instead. They usually don't just bail on me for no reason. And now F. We're probably disappointed, but not that angry at our friend anymore. And we don't send off those angry texts. So that's how the ABC model works with our thoughts in response to specific situations. The final stage of the model is G, which stands for growth. To achieve growth, we need to apply the model beyond just our surface-level thoughts and extend it to our core beliefs, which are long-standing, deeply held beliefs about ourselves, the world, and other people that usually form in childhood and influence how we think, feel, and act. It can be hard to recognize core beliefs, so if you're not sure what yours are, I have a video that can help you uncover them. So now let's go back to ABC. In our original example, we looked at surface-level thoughts at B. And the reason we might have one thought over another is tied to our core beliefs. The thought, nobody ever wants to do anything with me, could stem from a core belief like, I'm unlikable. The thought, that's so disrespectful, might come from a core belief like, you can't count on other people. And then these beliefs and thoughts lead to the emotional and behavioral consequences we already looked at. Some other examples. We make a mistake, and it could activate core beliefs like, I'm a failure, I'm worthless. And as a consequence, we might feel anxious or ashamed, and respond by overworking to try to compensate for our mistake, or just avoiding the task and overthinking what we just did. Feeling anxious in a social situation could activate the belief, I must be in control of my emotions or I won't be able to cope, causing us to feel self-conscious and leave early and avoid similar situations in the future. So now we dispute these negative core beliefs to try to come up with more effective beliefs, and we can use the same process we used to dispute our thoughts. We might ask ourselves, have I had any experiences that show that this belief isn't true all the time? I've made lots of mistakes where things still work out in the end. Are there other possible ways to view this? Everyone makes mistakes. That doesn't mean everyone's a failure. Which leads to a more effective belief, like, I can make mistakes and still be okay. Mistakes alone don't determine my worth. And this belief leads to more functional feelings and behavior. We might feel disappointed or concerned rather than ashamed, and less anxious that we made the mistake. And now we're able to carry on with what we were doing. And instead of disputing our beliefs by arguing against them, we can test out how accurate they are in real life. We stay in the social situation even though we're anxious to see what happens. Despite our anxiety, we're still able to carry on conversations. We do feel awkward or embarrassed a few times, but it's manageable and nobody seems to notice, and overall everything goes fine. Which leads to a more effective belief. I don't need to control my emotions in order to cope. I can manage to do things even when I'm anxious. And this leads to more functional feelings and behavior. We might still feel nervous in these situations, but it's a more manageable type of anxiety, and we're able to stay in uncomfortable social situations and still engage with other people. Unlike with our surface-level thoughts, disputing deeper core beliefs doesn't produce immediate results. Building more effective core beliefs requires a lot of reinforcing. We need to dispute these beliefs whenever they get activated. And then over time, they transform into more effective beliefs, which lead to more functional feelings and behavior, and helps us grow. And to learn more about core beliefs and how to dispute them and negative thoughts, please check out my free CBT course at selfhelptunes.com. And please help me out by liking and subscribing and letting me know what you think in the comments. And if you'd like to support my channel and help me make more videos like this, I really appreciate it, and please check out the donation links in the description.